Taoism says, stop trying so hard. Buddhism says, everything you cling to causes suffering. Vedanta says, you are already what you seek. Stoicism says, focus only on what you control. 4 ancient traditions, 4 paths to wisdom, 4 contradictions you need to understand. Before we begin, let's be clear about what this series is not. This is not self-help. This is not productivity hacking. This is not 10 tips for a better life. This is philosophy, real philosophy, the kind that asks uncomfortable questions, the kind that demands you change how you see reality itself. And here's what you need to know from the start. These 4 traditions contradict each other, not in small ways, in fundamental ways. They offer different diagnoses of what's wrong with human existence, different treatments, different goals. You cannot follow all 4 equally, not if you take them seriously, not if you follow them to their logical conclusions. This series will show you where they agree and where you'll have to choose. Let's start with basic terms. The Tao is the flowing, impersonal process underlying all of nature. No agent behind it, no purpose, just flow, like a river that doesn't know where it's going, but gets there anyway. Dharma, Atman, and Brahman are central to the Indian traditions. Dharma is cosmic order, your duty within that order. Atman is your true self, eternal, unchanging consciousness. Brahman is ultimate reality, infinite, absolute. Dukkha and nirvana are Buddhism's core concepts. Dukkha is suffering, dissatisfaction, the fundamental unsatisfactoriness of conditioned existence. Nirvana is liberation, the extinguishing of craving, the end of rebirth. Logos and arete are Stoicism's foundation. Logos is the rational order of the cosmos. Divine reason. Arete is virtue, excellence, living in harmony with Logos. These aren't just words. They're different ways of seeing what reality is. Here is an ancient Buddhist parable. A man is being chased through a forest by a hungry tiger. He runs to the edge of a cliff. Below, another tiger waits. He sees a vine hanging down the cliff face. He grabs it and begins to climb down. Above him, the first tiger. Below him, the second tiger. Then he notices 2 mice, one white, one black, gnawing at the vine. Day and night, they chew. The vine is weakening. In front of him, growing from the rock face, he sees a wild strawberry plant. One perfect, ripe strawberry hangs within reach. He plucks it and eats it. How sweet it tastes. 4 traditions would interpret this parable in 4 completely different ways. The Buddhist sees this: impermanence, anicca. Everything is falling apart. The tigers represent birth and death. The mice represent day and night, time consuming everything. The man is trapped. But in this moment, there is a strawberry. That's all there ever is. This moment, the lesson. Don't miss the strawberry because you're obsessed with the tigers. Live fully in this moment, because it's the only moment you have. The Taoist sees this. Flow. The man didn't create this situation. The Tao put him here through a chain of natural causes. He can't control the tigers, can't control the mice, can't control the vine breaking, but he can taste the strawberry. That's Wu Wei. Effortless action within the flow, not resisting what is, not demanding what should be, just responding naturally to what the moment offers. The lesson. Stop fighting reality. Accept what comes. Find sweetness in the midst of chaos. The Vedantin sees this. The witness. Who is watching this drama? The man thinks he's trapped, but there's an awareness observing the whole scene. That awareness, the Atman, is never in danger. The body might fall, The story might end, but consciousness itself, eternal, unchanging. The strawberry isn't just a moment of pleasure. It's a reminder. You are not the drama. You are the awareness watching the drama unfold. The lesson. You're not the man on the vine. You're the unchanging witness of all changing phenomena. The Stoic sees this. Control. The man doesn't control the tigers, doesn't control the mice, doesn't control how long the vine will hold, but he controls his response. He could panic, could curse the gods, could freeze in terror. Instead, he notices the strawberry and chooses to experience it fully. That choice, how he responds to circumstances beyond his control, that's his freedom. That's his virtue. That's all he truly owns. The lesson. External events don't determine your peace. Your character determines your peace. You see? Same story. 4 completely different philosophies. And here's what matters. They're not saying the same thing in different words. They're saying different things. Buddhism says, everything is impermanent, so be present. Taoism says, everything is natural flow, so stop resisting. Vedanta says, you are eternal consciousness, so recognize your true nature. Stoicism says, external events don't matter, only your response matters. These are not the same teaching. We live in a strange time for philosophy. Ancient wisdom has been reduced to Instagram quotes. Profound teachings compressed into productivity tips. Buddhism becomes mindfulness for better focus at work. Stoicism becomes how to be tough and successful. But the Buddha wasn't trying to make you more productive. He was trying to get you out of the cycle of rebirth entirely. Marcus Aurelius wasn't trying to make you successful. He was trying to make you virtuous, whether you succeeded or not. These traditions have been diluted, commercialized, stripped of their depth. This series is different. We're going back to the source, to what these philosophies actually taught, not what modern self-help wants them to teach. And that means acknowledging something uncomfortable. These traditions contradict each other. Let's start with Taoism. Taoism begins with a simple observation. There's a natural order to things. Water flows downhill. Fire rises. Seeds grow into trees. The seasons turn. This natural order is called the Tao. And humans, we complicate everything. We resist. We force. We try to make water flow uphill. We try to keep summer from becoming fall. This creates suffering. Not because life is hard, but because we're fighting the current. Wu Wei is the Taoist solution. It means non-doing or non-forcing. Not passivity, not laziness, but action that doesn't strain against the natural flow. Think of a skilled swimmer. A novice fights the water, exhausts themselves, barely moves forward. A master moves with the water, finds the current, glides. That's Wu Wei, effortless effectiveness, power that doesn't force. The Tao Te Ching, Taoism's foundational text, says, the Tao does nothing, yet nothing is left undone. This sounds paradoxical. How can doing nothing accomplish everything? Because the Tao isn't actually doing nothing. It's acting in perfect harmony with natural processes. A river doesn't try to carve a canyon, it just flows. Over time, the canyon appears. Ziran is another key concept. It means self-so, or naturalness. Things being what they are without artifice, without pretense, without force. A tree doesn't try to be a tree. It just grows according to its nature. An infant doesn't study how to laugh. Laughter just comes naturally. Taoism says, you've forgotten how to be natural. You perform. You pretend. You force yourself to be something you're not. The path. Return to simplicity. Let go of what's unnecessary. Be like the uncarved block, pu, raw potential before society shaped you into something complicated. What Taoism offers: freedom from neurotic striving, peace that comes from accepting what is, harmony with natural rhythms instead of constant struggle. What to watch out for: Taoism can become passivity. Go with the flow can become don't do anything difficult. It can be used to avoid necessary action, avoid responsibility, avoid standing up for what's right. The Tao is immoral. It doesn't care about justice, doesn't care about human welfare, so Taoism alone can lack moral direction. Try this small practice. Today, notice where you're forcing, where you're pushing against reality, where you're trying to make something happen through sheer will. Ask yourself, what happens if I stop pushing for 5 minutes? What if I let this situation unfold naturally? See what changes. Often, the thing you were forcing happens more easily when you stop forcing it. Now Buddhism enters with a different diagnosis. Buddhism says, you're suffering, not just when bad things happen, always. There's a fundamental unsatisfactoriness built into conditioned existence. This is dukkha, often translated as suffering, but it's broader. It's the feeling that something's always slightly wrong. Even when things are good, there's an underlying anxiety, a sense of incompleteness. Why? Because of tanha, craving, thirst. You want pleasure to continue. You want pain to stop. You want to exist forever. Or sometimes, you want to stop existing entirely. This wanting, this grasping, this resistance to what is, that's the root of suffering. And here's the key insight. It's not the pain itself that destroys you. It's your relationship to the pain, your resistance, your clinging, your story about it. The Buddha taught the Four Noble Truths. First, dukkha exists. Life is marked by suffering and dissatisfaction. Second, samudaya. The cause is craving, tanha. Third, nirodha. Cessation is possible, nirvana. Fourth, magga. The path is the Noble Eightfold Path, ethical conduct, mental discipline, wisdom. Buddhism offers a cure, not a band-aid, not symptom management, a complete cure for suffering itself, but the cure is radical. It's not think positive. It's not find meaning in suffering. It's see through the illusion of self, recognize that everything is impermanent, let go of all clinging. When you do this completely, nirvana. The fires go out, craving ceases, rebirth ends, suffering ends. What Buddhism offers: liberation from the cycle of suffering, peace that doesn't depend on circumstances, clarity about the nature of mind and reality. What to watch out for: Buddhism's goal, nirvana, requires renunciation most people don't want. The monastic path is considered ideal. Family, career, worldly achievements, these bind you to samsara, and Buddhism can become nihilistic if misunderstood. Everything is empty can become nothing matters. But that's not what the Buddha taught. Try this small practice. For 60 seconds, observe a thought arise in your mind. Any thought. Watch it appear. Watch it dissolve. You didn't create it. You don't control it. It just comes and goes. If you're not creating your thoughts, who are you? Buddhism says, investigate this deeply. The answer will change everything. Now Vedanta offers a third vision. Vedanta says, you're suffering because you've forgotten who you are. You think you're a small, limited, separate self, a body, a mind, a collection of memories and preferences. But that's a case of mistaken identity. That's Maya, illusion. Not that the world is fake, but that your perception of yourself is wrong. Your true nature is Atman, pure consciousness, eternal, unchanging. And here's the radical claim. Atman is identical to Brahman, the infinite reality underlying everything. You are not a drop in the ocean. You are the ocean, experiencing itself as a drop. Vedanta uses a teaching method called neti neti. Not this, not this. Are you your body? No. The body changes constantly, ages, decays, but the awareness witnessing the body doesn't change. Are you your thoughts? No. Thoughts come and go, but the awareness witnessing thoughts remains. Are you your emotions? No. Emotions rise and fall like waves, but the awareness stays. What remains when you strip everything away? Pure consciousness, the witness, the sakshi, and that witness, not personal, universal, infinite. You are that tattvam asi. What Vedanta offers, recognition that you're already complete. The search ends. The separation dissolves. Peace comes from knowing your true nature, not from changing circumstances. What to watch out for? Vedanta can become spiritual escapism. Everything is illusion, can justify ignoring real problems. I am Brahman can become spiritual ego, arrogance disguised as enlightenment. And there's tension with Buddhism. Vedanta says, there is an eternal self. Buddhism says, there is no self at all. These directly contradict. Try this small practice. Ask yourself, who is aware of this moment? Don't answer with words. Don't analyze. Just feel into the awareness that's aware. That awareness is what Vedanta says you truly are. Not the thoughts, not the body, the consciousness witnessing everything. Finally, Stoicism arrives with a fourth path. Stoicism says, you're suffering because you're confused about what you control. You think you control your health, your reputation, your success, other people's opinions. The future, you don't. And trying to control what you don't control is the root of all anxiety, all frustration, all disappointment. There's only one thing you truly control. Your prohairesis, your capacity for reasoned choice, your will, your character. Everything else? Indifferent, preferred, perhaps, but not essential to your well-being. Epictetus, the Stoic philosopher who was once a slave, taught, some things are up to us, others are not. Up to us, opinion, motivation, desire, aversion. Not up to us, body, property, reputation, office. This is the dichotomy of control, and it's liberating. You don't control whether you get sick, but you control how you respond to sickness. You don't control whether people respect you, but you control whether you act respectably. You don't control outcomes, but you control effort and intention. When you focus only on what you control, anxiety dissolves, because you're no longer at the mercy of fortune. The Stoics identified 4 cardinal virtues: wisdom, courage, justice, temperance. These are what you control. These are what matter. Everything else? The Stoics called them indifference. Health is preferred to sickness. Wealth is preferred to poverty. But neither determines your virtue. Marcus Aurelius was emperor of Rome. Enormous power and wealth. But he wrote, external things are not the problem. The problem is your judgment about external things. He knew his peace didn't come from his throne. It came from his character. What Stoicism offers: clarity about responsibility, resilience through character development, the ability to engage with the world virtuously without being destroyed by circumstances. What to watch out for? Stoicism can become emotional suppression. Be tough, can mean don't feel. But Stoics didn't suppress emotions. They managed them through reason. And Stoicism can justify injustice. Accept what you can't control can become accept oppression. But true Stoicism fights injustice, while accepting that outcomes aren't guaranteed. Try this small practice. List 3 things stressing you right now. For each one, ask, is this under my control? If yes, make a plan and act. If no, practice letting go. You're suffering because you're trying to control what you can't. Now let's see how these 4 traditions respond to the same situation. You're lying in bed, wide awake. You have an important presentation tomorrow. Your mind races. You can't sleep. The more you try to sleep, the more awake you become. What does each tradition say? The Taoist response: you're resisting the natural flow. You're trying to force sleep. That's the problem. Sleep comes when you stop trying. Wu Wei, lie down. Breathe naturally. Let your body do what it does. The more you fight wakefulness, the more wakeful you become. Stop trying. Just be. Sleep will come, or it won't. Either way, you're not in control. Accept that. The Buddhist response: this is tanha, craving. You want sleep. You want the presentation to go well. You want control over the future. But the future doesn't exist yet. Only this moment exists. This breath, this sensation in your body. Observe the worry arise. Don't fight it. Don't feed it. Just watch it like you'd watch a cloud. Worry is present. That's all. It will pass. Everything passes. Return to the breath. Again. Again. The presentation will happen or not. Right now, there's just breathing. The Vedanta response: who is worried? The ego is worried. But you, the Atman, are not worried. You are the witness observing worry. Rest in your nature as pure consciousness. The presentation is just another scene in the drama of life. The body will perform, or it won't. But you, the eternal self, remain unchanged. The worry happens in the mind, but you are not the mind. You are what observes the mind. The Stoic response: what's under your control? Preparation. You did that already. Your effort tomorrow, you'll give your best. The outcome, not in your control. The audience's reaction, not in your control. You're worrying about things you don't control. That's irrational. It won't help. It will only exhaust you. Focus on what you control. Your intention to act with excellence. That's enough. Sleep or don't sleep. Tomorrow you'll do your duty. That's all virtue requires. Same situation. 4 completely different responses. Not because they're saying the same thing in different words, but because they have fundamentally different philosophies about what matters, what you are, and what you should do. You cannot follow all 4 equally, not deeply, not honestly. You might use insights from several, take practices from different traditions, but your fundamental orientation, your deepest answer to, what should I do with my life? That will come from one primary path. This series will show you where these traditions agree, where they contradict, where you can integrate them, and where you'll have to choose. Buddhism wants you to exit the world eventually, transcend it, reach nirvana. Stoicism wants you to engage virtuously in the world, excel within it, achieve eudaimonia. Vedanta wants you to wake up from the dream, recognize your Brahman. Taoism wants you to flow without complicating, return to naturalness, achieve Ziran. 4 paths, 4 destinations, 4 kinds of life. If you could only have one, freedom from the world, excellence in it, awakening from the dream, or harmony with the flow? Which calls to you? You don't have to answer now, but by the end of this series, your life will answer for you. Not the philosophy you admire, not the one you quote, but the one you actually live when no one's watching. Pain is inevitable. Suffering is optional. But what's the difference? And which tradition actually helps when you're in the fire? Next video will bring the full perspective from suffering and pain through Eastern spirituality. I'll see you there.